Hello, everyone. Welcome to K-Pop Queen for your non-daily reactions to all things K-pop. I've got another review for y'all because that's what I really want to talk about. I really need to come here and talk to y'all about Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho's latest movie. Now, I'm just going to start this off by saying, if you left that theater and you were like, oh, I don't know, it was shit, it was boring, I don't know, boo, you're a loser. You're a fucking loser and you don't like to think. I'm sorry. Once again, Bong Joon-ho has done it. That man in his mind, I'm not kidding. I need to sit down with him. I need to have tea and a croissant or something and just get into his mind and figure out what he's thinking at all times. Because this movie was absolutely brilliant. I do think it is his best to date, which, listen. If you had asked me this before I'd seen Mickey 17, I would say his best movie to date is Memories of Murder. I stand by that one hands down. The second one's Snowpiercer. Those are my personal opinions, right? But I am now saying with the utmost confidence that I have that Mickey 17 is his best film. I will not be taking critiques. I will not be taking comments. I will not be taking questions. You're just going to have to take my word for it. Now, if you have not seen this movie, please exit out of this. This is one of the few times where I'm going to tell you, you do not need to be spoiled for this. You need to go into this with a fresh, ready to critically think mind, ready to absorb and see film and acting. You need to go in ready and fresh, no spoilers at all, okay? So please click out of this if you have not seen it. Okay, now I'm about to get into it. I'm just going to read a little bit off the Wikipedia page so you can get into it, but I'm not even sure if I could put this movie into my own words. It's kooky, it's quirky, it's Bong Joon-ho. That man's a little bit of a weirdo, he always has such an interesting concept, and plot. And yet he's always commenting on society while being quirky and weird. So anyway, let me just read this. Mickey 17 is a 2025 science fiction dark comedy film written, produced, and directed by Bong Joon-ho based on the 2022 novel Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. Oh, okay, I did not know that. Interesting. The film stars Robert Pattinson in the title role alongside Naomi Ackie, Stephen Yeun, Toni Collette, and Mark Ruffalo. Set in the future, the plot follows a man who joins a space colony as an expendable, a disposable worker who gets cloned every time he dies for research purposes. Actually, that is brilliant. I don't know why I couldn't think of it on my own. That is literally the plot of the film. Now, Mickey 17, I've been waiting for this movie. I'm almost positive it was supposed to come out last year and it got delayed. I think they were trying to figure something out. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever it is, it was worth the wait. This movie is brilliant. Absolutely stunning. 10 out of 10. A++, no notes. I loved this movie. I have only seen it once, so this is just my initial reaction to it. But I will be going at least one more time. This movie is insane, but in a very quirky way. As I said in that first sentence, science fiction dark comedy. Dark comedy for sure. There are quite a few moments that I laughed out loud. And other moments where I was like, this is a lot. This is very, very dark. At one point, I think I almost cried. I was getting very emotional watching it. But that's because of my personality. Anyway, Robert Pattinson, this is a titular role from him. When I talk about your repertoire and when I talk about you and your acting, I'm gonna talk about Mickey Barnes, hands down. My God. Absolutely phenomenal lead character. No other person could do this. This role was made for him. The same way that I think Timothée Chalamet was made to play Paul Atreides is the same way that I think Robert Pattinson is absolutely brilliant as Mickey Barnes. Phenomenal character work, accent work. I know we love to talk about that, but I have to mention this. Him in The Boy and the Blue Heron, to this day, I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from? What is this? I didn't even know you was doing all of this, I like Robert Pattinson, but I'm not going to pretend that I've seen all of his movies. So, I wasn't that familiar with his voice work. Of course, I did mention Boy and the Blue Heron, which is where I got my introduction to him to really seeing what he could do vocally. Again, stunning performance. So, here in this one, he's bringing that back to life with this as he plays these different Mickeys. And it is just, it's out of this world. Guys, this is why we watch film. This is why we watch cinema, to get these types of performances. And I'm telling you now, God, it is so hard to really be stunned by acting nowadays. And I'm not saying that to be snobby. I myself am an actor. I'm really not trying to be snobby, but it's difficult. We just don't have a lot of actors acting nowadays. And everyone came to work, particularly Robert Pattinson. Naomi, out of this world. Okay, as our female lead, Nasha. Oh my gosh. Okay, Toni Collette, absolutely brilliant. Mark Ruffalo, we're gonna get into everyone's performance, but just stunning, 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 delicious, delicious. You have Mark Ruffalo as this outlandish Trump character. And you could say Trump because truly that he very much so studying Trump, but I'm gonna even bring it out even more and say American politician. I mean, my God, the clown outfits and suits that these motherfuckers put on every day, yelling in the chambers, yelling on Twitter, acting like absolute asshats as if my rights are a fucking joke to them. They don't give a fuck, but as long as they can paint their face and start clowning around, they're fine. So that's kind of what the thing, that's what we got going on over here. So I really resonated and was disgusted by Mark Ruffalo's character. He absolutely ate that down. You know, for me, Mark Ruffalo, again, not an actor that I think is bad. I enjoyed watching him in films. I really love, oh my God, what is that one movie with Reese Witherspoon? Something Heaven, not Highway to I can't remember the name of it, but I love that movie with him and Reese Witherspoon. Reese Witherspoon, it's so so good, right? But when I think of Mark Ruffalo, I'm not sure I can think of a performance that like really blew me away. I like him, but I can't say I was blown away. Blown away in this one. Character work on this right down to the fucking veneers. First of all, costume department, eating, makeup, eating. But like the way he really embodied the Trump clownery, absolute fuckery was you're working very hard, Mr. Ruffalo. You're working very hard. You're taking your character study very seriously, and I, the viewer, appreciate that. Let me just say that right now. Okay. Toni Collette, obviously brilliant. Like now that's a brilliant actress. Okay. Whatever role she is in, brilliance. I never doubt her, honestly. And Naomi, I saw her in Blink twice, which if you have not seen, please go out and see that. Her and Channing Tatum have a real dark chemistry. It's a very dark movie, but their chemistry is so palpable. It's so dark, that entire movie. Go and watch her in that. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant in this one as well. Guys, again, everyone on set came to work. Makeup, hair, costume, the fucking directing, okay, acting, production, the set, everything was just at such a high level that I can't help but bask in its glory. Okay, so you're not gonna watch this and think, oh, performance-wise, it's lacking. That's not possible. I'm gonna say right now, that's not possible. You know what's also not possible? Being bored by this movie. I sat in that theater and someone walked by me and was like, oh, that was so boring. All that fight just to end in nothing. I almost whipped my head around and started yelling because I was like, you've missed the entire plot. You missed the entire story. No thoughts, head empty. Just a head to hold your brain. The brain's not doing nothing. It's just sitting there, sitting in the juice, doing nothing. I couldn't believe it. Guys, I'm sorry that these movies aren't like so easy and digestible. Like, sorry, you actually have to think a little bit, have a little bit of critical thought, and maybe try and apply it to what's going on and to the world, and maybe see some parallels, and maybe speak up about that. Like, what? Anyway, our big plot point in this movie. We know that Bong Joon-ho loves to talk about society, talk about humanity, talks about, a bunch of different things. Classism Within, Parasite, Snowpiercer, Memories of Murder based on a true story. So he's looking at life and he is like, okay, what story can I tell today, right? This one, Mickey 17, this one I feel our big plot point it's maybe not that big. It's probably a couple of different things. This was the big one for me. And I'll be honest with you, I did not get this until the end of the movie. And Robert Pattinson says his last line. And I'm not even kidding, my third eye opened. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, right? So for me, the biggest plot point is actually about our happiness. It's truly about our happiness. Robert Pattinson in this film, he plays Mickey Barnes, who is a man that honestly does not see his own worth. He truly believes that he is a worthless person in every point of his life from as far back as he can remember. And we get to see his memories in this. Okay. We get to see his memories. We know that for the longest time, he has thought that he is a worthless person. And the thing that he keeps repeating is, it's my punishment. I deserve this. It's my punishment for killing my mother. It's my punishment. So this is my life now. Truly thinks that he has no worth, which was really difficult to hear. Anytime I hear someone say that about themselves, or, I heard Robert Pattinson say that about himself, I was like, why would you think that? The last line of the movie, the last thing that Robert Pattinson says, and I'm paraphrasing, he basically says, despite it all, I do deserve to be happy. Knocked me right the fuck out, took my fucking teeth, smashed my face in. To go from being like, I'm worthless, I don't deserve anything, it's a punishment, this life that I live, I deserve to die, to being like, I deserve happiness. Okay, all right. I see you, I get it, and I'm so happy you finally think that way. But I think that was our big plot point, that like, we really truly deserve to be happy. Like, there shouldn't be this thought that we're worthless, or that like we're being punished. No punishment at all. Life is not a punishment. It is just quite a joy, and it's a little gift, and we should cherish that, and we should cherish ourselves, and we should be kinder to ourselves. We must have more empathy for others, but also for ourselves, and just be much, much kinder. Which that really, God, I never once thought that would be the big plot point. Like, I never ever thought that is what he was going to try to say in his films. In the beginning of the movie, we get a montage of him like dying multiple times and dying each different way. So we get to see essentially each different Mickey up until we get to the 17 and of course 18. And that, comes in with a little bit of fun in the middle of the movie. But we see him die multiple ways for research, and it's gruesome every single time. So basically he's supposed to die. That's what an expendable is. They're disposable workers. They get used for research. They die essentially every day. Like, that's kind of what, or as often as possible, as long as it takes. So 17 essentially falls, and it looks like he's about to get eaten by what they call the creepers. This is our monster in the movie. Okay, Mr. Bong Joon-ho also loves a little monster. He's obsessed with a creature monster that's sort of the villain of the movie, which, I love. So he's supposed to get eaten by these creepers. At least that's what they think happens. And the creepers don't eat him. They save him. They save him from the cave where he's fallen, and they help him back up to where his spaceship is supposed to be. And he's like looking at the creature like, why didn't you eat me? Literally, he's like, do I not look tasty? Like, there goes his like low self mentality. He's like, damn, I'm not even worth eating. Like, I'm bad meat. Oh, another like, oh God, another theme. Another term, like, it's punishment, I deserve it, I'm bad meat, constantly heard throughout the movie. So he goes back to the spaceship, but they've already reprinted him. So that's where we have a case of multiples, which is like a really big problem with cloning, which not really sure how no one saw that coming. My first thought was, well, what happens if you're cloned at the same time? Like, you're literally, like, you're cloning yourself. Of course, there's going to be more than one of you. That's what a clone is. So anyway, Mickey 18 is kind of the polar opposite of Mickey 17, which I find absolutely fascinating. One of the things they had talked about in this movie was that the Mickeys are the same. Like, it's your personality is getting uploaded to this little brick chip, and you will remember dying, you will remember what it feels like, but you're going to be in a new body, which is actually terrifying, horrifying. Each one comes out a little bit different though. Like, sometimes they're whiny, sometimes they're annoying, sometimes they're clingy. Although I do think it's kind of an amalgamation, a combination of Mickey. Like, that's kind of what his personality seems like to me. So when I met 18 as that stark difference, I was like, oh, whoa, okay, here's that variation they were talking about. 18 is angry. A very, very angry, psychotic, person coming in with a little bit of that Batman voice. I heard that too. I saw you guys talking about that. Coming in with that Batman voice in 18, and he is just full of rage. And he wants to live. So the first time that they meet, 18 immediately tries to kill 17. He's like, I already know we can't be multiples. That's why you have to die. And 17 is like, wait, like, hold on, like, stop. Like, I was here first. You should have never been printed. You die, you know? So they kind of have that battle and they have that fight. And multiples are a bad thing. Like, obvious, like, they don't want them because of something that's happened on Earth. That's why this whole cloning thing is like a huge problem. So whenever you have a multiple, you have to report it and you got to kill them, essentially. Which brings me to one of my favorite scenes, although I do think this whole movie is brilliant. I love the scenes between 18 and 17 when they're with Nasha. That boy, Mickey, is in love with Nasha. In every iteration of himself, he is in love with her. And she is in love with him. That's very key. That is very, very key. It's not one loves more than the other. One cares for the other more. No. They both care for each other equally in their own ways, which I thought was portrayed very well in this movie. Like, for instance, when we see, I think it's like maybe Mickey 5, he's getting tested on, just so that they can come up with a vaccine because the air is polluted. She is like, you know what? I'm going in there with you. He's in his little testing tube, you know, being essentially suffocated, and she puts on a hazmat suit and holds him as he dies. Like, that lady is just as dedicated to him as he is to her, right? So I really love that. So when she meets both of them, 17 and 18, she's stoked. She's like, yes, 2 of you. She isn't even thinking about getting rid of one of them. She is immediately like, you're both mine. Immediately. Which, you know, okay, sure, why not? Yes, I get it. The immediate, like, run or play into them having their little threesome, I was like, that's happening really fast, but okay, if that's your first thought, like, cool. Like, she immediately grabs both of them and is like, yeah. Like, no hesitation, not freaked out. She's so stoked. So that was one of my favorite scenes when she first meets the 2 of them and how she's like, I love both of you. You're both Mickey. You're both mine. Which is kind of funny because another character tries to come in and like get with Mickey 17. She's like, you can have 17, you know, I can have 17 and you can have 18. And Nasha immediately, like, she turns up her psycho. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're both mine. That's Mickey. I don't give a fuck if he's a multiple. He's mine. Her intensity, Naomi, let me just say this. Your intensity in this film, I truly loved it. As someone that is very intense themselves, I was like, I actually think this is an appropriate reaction. Another really, there's so many great moments. But I think another one that I really enjoyed was the communication of Mickey and like the lead creeper, who I'm still trying to figure out who voiced that. I will be looking up the credits. But the minute Mickey goes out there to talk to the lead creeper with his little translator on, and the creeper speaks back, I'm not even kidding. I was like, oh! Like, it kind of shocked me. I don't know why. Again, Bong always has the monster that's communicating with humans. Like, I don't know why I was surprised by that, but I was just like, oh my God, like, what the heck? Creepers are kind of seen as like these like dark creatures, violent creatures, you know, even though they really have no idea. Which again, another comment on society, how you can go into a different land, see the natives, the native, you know, things there and be like, bad. Immediately bad, you have to die. I'm going to shoot you. Oh, oh my God, right? So when they have their whole conversation and they, you know, they're trying to incite the chaos and it's working, and, you know, Mickey has no idea how to solve this. He's trying to anyway. I really loved that moment, the communication between these 2 characters. I just thought it was I just thought it was kind of fun. I thought it was kind of fun. And I thought it was like the one peaceful thing in this really chaotic moment because he's outside, the wind is blowing, the snow is everywhere, there's a million creepers everywhere. Like, it's just, there's so much movement and noise that the moment of them communicating, I was like, okay, finally, some clarity. Like, finally, something I could like truly like understand and see, and it's palpable and it's real. And it's pushing the story. Loved that moment. I also really loved the moment of Mickey 18 just self-sacrificing himself, which another comment. We do have to do this together with the only way we as a society can continue forward is if we all do this. No one can be left out. But there are going to be quite a few, one seldom person that is probably going to bear most of that grunt work and do something that's really prolific that helps the community move even more. So when Mickey 18 self-sacrifices to get rid of Mark Ruffalo, you know, as the one for one sacrifice, in order to stop this war, I was breathless. I was absolutely breathless. It's like the one major selfless thing he has done. Most of the time he was pretty selfish and really only thinking of himself. So to watch him go from like very self-centered, chaotic, insane, psychotic to just being like caring, very humane, selfless, in the frame of like, I mean, he's not even in the whole movie. He comes in like halfway in the frame of maybe like an hour 15. You can only dream of that type of character work. You can only dream of having that type of plot line, in my opinion. And doing it so well, executing it so well. It's not corny. No. It's like brave. It's like actually quite brave to see him end the way that he did. There's so much commentary on this. There's so many different thoughts. I don't even know where to begin, where to end. And I know I didn't talk about every plot point, but again, he's really talking about so many different aspects of society. You need to see this film a few times. Absolutely. Hands down. You need to see it a few times to catch everything. I mean, I was talking to my friend Lucia, and she had mentioned something about how Toni Collette's character was so obsessed with the sauces and how that too is a commentary on society. Like, how do I paraphrase this? It's like being able to like literally have condiments with your food, sauce on your food is sort of what people would consider the ultimate like evolution or like ultimate high status, because it's like you're not eating plain food, like you're not eating just to survive, you're actually eating to enjoy. And so it's like a luxury aspect, which I'm not gonna lie to you, again, third eye wide open, I didn't even catch that. I kept thinking like, why is this lady so obsessed with the fucking sauces? She's cutting off tails on animals and blending it. Like, she's not even thinking real talk. Like, this is a psychosis state. This lady's not here with us. But when Lucia had mentioned that, I was like, oh my God, of course it's a take on luxury. Of course it's a take on how, you know, the differences of rich and poor and how they're able to eat meat and have sauce and stuff, whereas everyone else has rationed food, rationed piles of garbage. Woo! Please, please, please. Please tell me you've seen this movie before you saw my ramblings. Please tell me you did. Because I'm not doing it justice just talking about it, but I really wanted to say something. I really love this movie. And I want to make sure that it gets out there, that people go and watch it, and go and see it in the theater on the screen where it's meant to be screened, where it's meant to be seen. I saw it in Dolby, you know, the Dolby Cinema, whatever the fuck that was. And it was a very clear, crisp sound, great, screen, very clear, you know, really able to focus and get these visuals that they spend so much time on. So please go watch this movie if you have not. If you have seen it, I would love to know your thoughts on this, what you think some big plot points are. Okay, comment below, tweet at me, and I'll be back with another reaction. Bye, guys.